Topping today's news, Prime Minister Philip Davis gives his input on the concerning issue of increasing criminal activity, while the official opposition continues to apply pressure to the government to find a solution to crime. The Minister of Education responds to the recent protest by the Bahamas Union of Teachers to have a primary school principal removed. The government reveals a new rent-to-own housing program, and slumlords and those who dump derelict vehicles and bulk waste in our communities are set to be targeted. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. As the uptick in crime seems to be on a steady rise, leaving great concern for many Bahamians, Prime Minister Philip Davis says he too is concerned about the high number of violence. However, he says he is confident in the efforts by the Royal Bahamas Police Force to tackle the issue of crime. Mr. Davis wanted to give residents hope that all is not lost and that plans are in place to address the issues.
I'm totally concerned about it, and plans are in place to address the issues. You'll find that saturation patrol is out there. We think that the numbers may have been much more had the initiatives that the new Commissioner of Police were not put in place. If you go out there, you'll see it, and there's a lot of disruptions that have been occurring over the last couple of months. In fact, we've heard cries about the disruptive nature of the police and cries of civil liberties perhaps being trampled upon, which we don't think it is, but those are some of the things that are being said. But I think the disruptive intervention by police officers on the weekends in particular have been working.
This on the heels of members of the opposition calling for more to be done by the government as it relates to crime. With the murder count now in the triple digits, the opposition is again calling for an intervention to be made by Prime Minister Davis and his administration. Deputy Leader of the Free National Movement, Shannon Dawn Cartwright, says the government has failed to provide any solution on how to get crime under control, specifically gun violence.
Crime crisis is something that has been heartbreaking to the Bahamian people. Our government's fundamental priority is to ensure that their people and their communities are safe. In March of this year, the opposition would have made 14 recommendations to the government to assist in trying to combat this scourge of crime. At that time, there was 22 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Since then, we are talking about 75 plus murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but yet there is no comprehensive plan, not one piece of significant piece of policy or piece of legislation to help deal with this issue that continues to be a debilitating issue throughout our communities as bodies continue to drop in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So we have consistently called upon the government. We accept that crime is not a political issue, but the government must lead. The government must lead and bring all of the stakeholders together.
Earlier this year, Prime Minister Davis hosted a crime conclave with stakeholders, including the police, the opposition, and church leaders. F&M party leader Michael Pintard was asked if anything substantive came from that event. He responded by saying that it was no conclave, but merely good optics by the government.
He had a press briefing at the police headquarters, at the Prime Minister's office, where the deputy and myself were invited. There was no round table serious discussion on the issue of prevention, interdiction, enforcement, or rehabilitation. We submitted a document that had a list of recommendations. So please don't let the PR machinery of the government mislead the public. They did not have a serious conclave.
Meanwhile, in news from the crime beat, an adult male is detained in hospital in serious condition after he was shot about the body on Wednesday afternoon. Police are now investigating the circumstances surrounding this latest shooting. Preliminary reports reveal that shortly before 2 p.m., officers were notified that an adult male was at the hospital with multiple gunshot injuries about the body. At present, police are uncertain of the details surrounding this incident and are appealing to members of the public who may have any information surrounding the incident to contact the police at 911, 919, the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991 or 9992, or Crime Stoppers, that's 328-TIPS, 328-4877. Investigations have begun into a sudden death at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Police say a 43-year-old male who was remanded to BDOCS for a causing damage matter was found unresponsive in his cell around 12:20 a.m. today. He was examined by a physician at the prison who confirmed no signs of life. At present, foul play is not suspected. However, an autopsy will be completed to determine the exact cause of death. Active police investigations continue there as well. Education and Technical and Vocational Training Minister Glenys Hannah Martin breaking her silence in a statement last evening and is speaking out, addressing the ongoing protest and demonstrations by teachers at the Thelma Gibson Primary School. For weeks, teachers have been protesting and demanding the removal of the school's principal, Olivia Daxon, since an alleged altercation occurred between a teacher and Mrs. Daxon last month. And since the week began, teachers at the primary school in eastern New Providence have not been in classrooms, prompting questions and concerns about who is in the classroom with the students. Minister Hannah Martin assures parents of students that attend that school that measures have been put in place to ensure continuous supervision and instructions.
In the statement, we pointed out that the school is functional, teachers are in the classes, there is no class that is not supervised, and teaching is underway. And that is the extent of the statement that we issued, that education is underway at Thelma Gibson Primary.
On Monday, Thelma Gibson's teachers signed in late and then signed out sometime around 12 noon, leaving the school's campus, according to local media. On Tuesday, the teachers, along with the Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson, protested on the lawn of the office of the Prime Minister, demanding an audience with the Prime Minister. On Wednesday, World Teachers Day, Thelma Gibson teachers and the Bahamas Union of Teachers executives, that team, they were at the Parliament Square for a silent protest as members of Parliament met for Wednesday. Minister Hannah Martin notes that the Department of Labor has previously intervened in this dispute at the Thelma Gibson Primary School, and despite this, the conduct of withdrawal of service continues. The minister contends that the fundamental responsibility of her ministry is the education of the nation's children, and parents can be at ease that the Thelma Gibson Primary School is fully functional and students are attending classes under the supervision of teachers. As outlined in their Blueprint for Change, a rent-to-own housing initiative was announced by Minister of Housing and Transportation Jobeth Colby Davis in the House of Assembly on Wednesday under the name A Place to Call Home. Minister Colby Davis, the housing minister, revealed that the initiative will begin in Spring City, Abaco, in partnership with the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation with 5 new homes.
The mission statement of A Place to Call Home is to provide a sustainable path to home ownership, to empower, to create value, and to make a difference in the lives of Bahamians. The core values of the Rent to Own initiative are embodied in the acronym I3: integrity, innovation, and impact. A Place to Call Home will be built on integrity. We will be transparent, honest, and accountable with the Bahamian people.
The Ministry of Transport and Housing is reviewing over 1,200 applications for housing, according to Minister Colby Davis. She says the initiative was designed for working Bahamians in what she describes as a multi-island, sustainable, and financially viable housing solution. The housing program will be offered on San Salvador, Bimini, North Eleuthera, Cat Island, Exuma, and North Andros, creating jobs in construction for the homes that will range from 2-bed, 1-bath to 2-bed, 2-bath models.
A Place to Call Home gives Bahamians the opportunity to save up for their first dream home while living in it at the same time. Over an agreed fixed period, rent will be paid to the Department of Housing. A portion of the rent will go towards a down payment for the mortgage, property maintenance, and insurance costs. Deputy Speaker, a reservation deposit is required to enroll in A Place to Call Home. Successful applicants will be required to attend a home ownership education course through the Department of Housing and agree to financial coaching.
Minister Colby Davis explained the step-by-step process for applying for one of the rent-to-own homes.
Mary Johnson is a teacher. She's interested in enrolling in A Place to Call Home. Mary registers online with the Department of Housing and is advised of the cost of a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. She selects the housing solution to lease for 12 months with the purchase option. Mary also indicates that her preferred financial institution is the Bahamas Mortgage Corp. At the DOH, Deputy Speaker, the customer service team will tailor Mary's solution with the mortgage requirements of the Bahamas Mortgage Corp. The Bahamas Mortgage Corp requires a minimum down payment of 5%. As she selected the 12-month option, the deposit is divided by 12 so that Mary will have the full deposit saved at the end of the 12 months. Mary's total monthly payment to the Department of Housing will be her deposit, savings, plus a concessionary fee for administration, insurance, and maintenance. Mary's monthly payment under the program will be comparable and less than the cost to rent a similar home.
The initiative will be overseen by an advisory committee of professionals from the public and private sector. Interested individuals may apply for one of the homes at the Ministry of Transport and Housing website. And finally, in this segment, during the recent announcement of the nationwide cleanup campaign in the House of Assembly under the theme Restoring Communities and Uplifting Lives, the Minister of Environment and Natural Resources, Vaughn Miller, did not mince words and described the island of New Providence as being filthy and dirty. Well, the government's national cleanup campaign began on Monday, and in this next report, we hear how the campaign will affect inner-city landlords and inner-city mechanics, plus more. The government began its nationwide cleanup and beautification program in East New Providence on Monday, and it will last until 2023. According to Minister of Environment and Natural Resources, Vaughn Miller, a part of the cleanup campaign will focus on landlords throughout the country who failed to maintain their property and become eyesores in the community.
Additionally, they will collaborate with landlords to ensure that these landlords upgrade all of their rental properties, both in New Providence and the Family Islands, because some landlords are slumlords. You need me to repeat it? So landlords, if you're not acting right, we're coming at you. Get your houses in order.
Mr. Miller said over the past 3 years, the government has removed over 8,500 derelict vehicles from communities throughout the Bahamas, and it is expected that Phase 1 of this cleanup campaign, that includes removal of derelict vehicles, will cost over $1.1 million in New Providence and over $400,000 for the Family Islands. As a result, inner-city bush mechanics and vehicle owners who line the streets and vacant lots with derelict vehicles, and those who illegally dump bulk waste like old refrigerators and stoves, washing machines, and televisions will also be targeted.
Those who continue to dump vehicles and bulk waste indiscriminately, please, you want to put you on guard. We will march you to the environmental court and ask them to levy the most hefty fine on you. These acts must stop, must cease.
In addition to cleaning the communities around the country, Mr. Miller made the following announcement in regards to street signs, street lights, and public water pumps.
Additionally, upgrading these communities will include, and Lord knows many need it, adequate street lighting. BPL, get ready. We're calling on you. Street signs replacement. Repairs to potable water system. Many of us have forgotten about pumps, but many of our residents still rely on water from pumps. And a total refurbishment of all government rental complexes to facilitate a better life for Bahamians.
Again, the cleanup campaign continues into 2023 as the Bahamas gets ready to celebrate its 50th year anniversary of independence. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Kids, let's go! Sean, what are you doing?
I solved it. We'll buy our life insurance policy from this company and then go over here and get our home insurance. Then get our motor policy from right over here.
Or we could just get it all with SEG Atlantic. Save a lot of money and effort.
They do it all? Even pensions?
Even pensions.
We're like a husband that doesn't overcomplicate everything. SEG Atlantic. Good like that.
Marlin Marine and Generac have the standby generator that fits your needs. Conserve power by using only 1 or 2 circuits during an outage with our 7.5 kilowatt, or manage your power usage with our 10 to 16 kilowatt standby. But why only power part of the house? Get whole house protection with our 20 kilowatt Generac standby and never lose power again. Give us a call at 393-7873 and get the right unit for you. Marlin Marine, giving you power on land and sea.
Problem gambling and addiction has many faces. You never really know you have a problem until it has overtaken you. You just keep on making excuses. You could be down to your last dollar and listen to that voice that tells you you might just hit one big number or even a lucky spin. Before you know it, you begin chasing your losses and borrowing money from your friends, family, and even strangers. The next thing you know, you are using the money for your rent or electricity bill. Then when you become so desperate, it's the children's school fees, lunch that is being used to feed the addiction. It just doesn't stop. No matter how much you lose or how many people you hurt, you're the last person to admit that you have an illness. You are in constant denial, lying to yourself and playing the blame game. They don't understand. They don't get it. Everyone is always judging me. You stress me out and cause me to gamble. You become your own worst enemy without even realizing it. It wasn't until I lost the trust of everyone that was there for me and was completely alone that I can see that something had to change. I really needed help. I just couldn't do it on my own. If you or anyone else you know needs help, please call the numbers on your screen. Remember, hope and help is available. Call today.